Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the TBP podcast, where we talk about all things Houston Texans. Today is April 10th, 2020, and we are in episode 3 of this podcast, which is good. It's getting lots of good feedback, and that's happy to hear. And an update regarding this podcast, I'm going to be looking to upload these episodes to SoundCloud, so you guys could have the audio form, if you guys just want to have the audio form. And then I'm going to see if I could branch that out also to iTunes and Spotify. But look out for these podcast episodes to be out on SoundCloud very soon. The topic of today is the Brandin Cooks trade that occurred last night at around 7 p.m. What does it mean? What does this mean? What's going to be the outcome? Who's going to be the winner of this trade? We're going to talk about it here, starting now. So like I said, around 7 p.m. last night, the Texans traded a second-round pick from this year, which was the 57th overall pick, to the Rams for wide receiver Brandin Cooks and a future fourth-round pick. This trade gives me a lot of... I'm divided, to say the least. We traded for a wide receiver that's coming off a low production year, instead of drafting a wide receiver from a draft that's wide receiver heavy and filled with talent across the board. We could have gotten a good wide receiver with our second round picks, or even traded up to get a top wide receiver. But we went into this direction and got Brandin Cooks, who in 2019 had 42 receptions, 583 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A very low production year compared to the year prior where they went to the Super Bowl. And it wasn't based solely on injuries. He only missed 2 games with injuries, which were concussions. And those 2 games shouldn't have had that big of an impact on his production. If you look at the Los Angeles Rams as a whole, their production dipped tremendously. They had no running game. Their offensive line was horrible. They went from a 13-3 Super Bowl contending team to 9-7 and missed the playoffs. So the lack of production wasn't Cook's fault. His injury history is nothing too major to worry about. Those 2 concussions, he only missed 2 games. In the Super Bowl back in 2017 against the Eagles, he had a let me look it up. Yeah, in the second quarter of the Super Bowl with the Patriots, he suffered a concussion early in the second quarter. 2015 concussion, and 2014 he had a hand injury. So regarding injury history, he's not an injury-prone wide receiver. So those claims that, we just traded for another injury-prone wide receiver, that's certainly not the case. Because throughout his career, he's been pretty healthy. And this is the first year since 2014 with the Saints that he hasn't reached 1,000 yards. Dating back all the way to 2015 with the Saints, he got 84. 2015 he got 84 receptions, 1,138 yards, with 9 touchdowns. 2016 with the Saints, he got 1,173 yards and 8 touchdowns. 2017 with the Patriots, he had 1,082 yards with 7 touchdowns. 2018 with the Rams, they had 80 receptions, 1,204 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 2019 with the Rams, that's what I just said, only 583 yards with 2 touchdowns, lack of production. Other people are criticizing about he's been shipped too much and that this is a stupid trade for the Texans to facilitate. Okay. I don't see where that matters. I think in 2016 he was a free agent, or Was he a free agent or did he get traded? I think he was a free agent. Let me double check. Let's see here. All right. No, Cooks did get traded to the Patriots that year. And then after 1 year, the Rams traded for the Patriots, and then they signed Cooks to a 5-year, $81 million extension. But the Patriots, they don't keep their players a lot. They're usually just rentals. The Saints got a good trade. They thought they had a good deal, so they took it. And the Rams, who knows what's going on with the Rams? They got rid of Todd Gurley. Now Brandin Cooks. They're in a messy situation, but the fact that he's been shipped around too much and that's not a good trade, well, that doesn't really matter. Not to my knowledge. I don't think that matters too much. But people are still upset that this doesn't make up for the fact that we traded DeAndre Hopkins away. But if you look at this Texans offense now, we have a wide receiver core that's with deadly speed. Deadly speed. We have Brandin Cooks, Will Fuller, and Kenny Stills. With Brandin Cooks, who ran a 4.3340. And Will Fuller, let's see. Will Fuller ran a 4.33 as well. And Kenny Stills ran a 4.3840. That is a quick, speedy wide receiver core. And with this trade, I can see what Bill O'Brien is trying to build here. He's trying to go towards the same direction with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not looking for a number one wide receiver to just eye down every play and look for him. He wants to spread the ball out. And not to mention, we have two running backs who are great receiving backs. David Johnson and Duke Johnson are great receiving backs. We haven't had a good receiving back since Arian Foster. And these are guys who can do it. And for David Johnson, he can both catch and run the ball. Same with Duke, but he's a better receiving back. So Bill O'Brien wants to spread the ball out across the field. I don't think he's looking for the number one receiver that we had in Hopkins. He wants to go towards the direction of the Kansas City Chiefs, where he has lots of speed guys who can get open. It's more of pick your poison. Oh, Cooks isn't open. Okay, I know Fuller's open deep. Oh, Cooks and Fuller are covered. Oh, okay, I have Kenny Stills in the slot. I think that's what Bill O'Brien is trying to establish here. He wants his receivers to get open because when Will Fuller's on the field, he can get open easily with the speed. So now that we have two more guys with similar speed, that opens the door for more opportunities for guys to get the ball. And if Will Fuller gets hurt again, which I hope that's not the case, Will Fuller gets hurt, okay, Brandin Cooks is still there, Kenny Stills is still there, we have Randall Cobb, we're still good. We still have two speed guys rather than, oh, Will Fuller got hurt. Okay, now we have Hopkins, Stills, and maybe DeAndre Carter, Kiki Cutie, who is never healthy. So, call me crazy, but I kind of like this trade. Looking at this offense, Deshaun Watson at quarterback, David and Duke Johnson at running back, Brandin Cooks, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Randall Cobb as receivers, Darren Fells, Jordan Thomas, Jordan Akins at tight end. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. And it is not too bad. I'm not complaining. Many people are, and I think it's due to the fact that they're still butthurt and upset over the Hopkins trade. But as Texans fans, we have to move on from that. We can't just keep crying over the fact that we traded Hopkins for peanuts. We have to get the trade happened. It's been almost a month since the trade happened. We have to move on from that. We see that Bill O'Brien's not going anywhere. He's going to stay for the time being. So let's just see how this roller coaster goes. This offense could either succeed or fail. And if it succeeds, we're going to prove lots of people wrong from this trade. All the criticism. Bill O'Brien is either going to get praise from this trade, from trading DeAndre Hopkins away and acquiring Randall Cobb, Brandin Cooks, David Johnson, or he's going to be heavily criticized or possibly fired if this Texans team fails to produce. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but on paper, if everyone's healthy, this Texans offense could be deadly in the future. Now, as far as the draft goes, I mentioned in the last podcast, I believe the Texans will take a wide receiver at pick 40 and an edge rusher, defensive tackle at pick 57. But now we don't have pick 57 anymore. And we only have pick 40 in the second round. I don't believe they'll go for a receiver at that pick. I think they'll go for an edge rusher or another need. And I mentioned, and I believe the Texans will get a wide receiver towards the later rounds, or maybe not. I don't know. But if they choose to go in the direction of drafting a receiver in the later rounds, then the guy I mentioned was Kendrick Rogers after Kendrick Rogers out of A&M. That'll be a good pickup if they choose to draft a receiver late, but from the looks of it, they may pass on wide receiver this draft, but who knows? The draft is a total mystery for the Texans, for us Texans fans. But looking at our Texans offense compared to the Chiefs, I saw a comment where it's like the Texans are low-key building a Walmart version of the Chiefs offense. And after sitting there thinking about it, he's not wrong. So we look at the Chiefs offense, right? Let's take a look. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson. Those are guys who are fast and can get open. You know, if you look at these guys, you can't sit there and say one of them's the definite number one wide receiver. You could argue Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill gets open because he's fast. And same with Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins. You know, these are guys who can get open and give Mahomes a lot more options to throw to. With Damian Williams as running back, who is also a good receiving running back, that just opens the field. With Travis Kelce as a dominant tight end. Now, we don't have a tight end as good as Travis Kelce, let's be honest here. Like, Darren Fells is good, but he's not Travis Kelce. But I can see what the Texans are trying to do. And who knows, maybe it works. And if it doesn't, then maybe Bill O'Brien's out the door. But it'll be interesting to see how this trade plays out. But it should be fun. It should be fun. This will probably be a shorter episode. I already covered the Brandin Cooks trade, and we'll talk about more things come Monday, but we're about 15 and a half minutes in, so this will be a short podcast, so I'll probably end this here. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys Monday.